Hey everybody, it's me, Timmy Flyersguy, and welcome to the season finale of the Flyersguys Top 10. I wanted to wait until the Flyers season was over to do this video. I was going to do an entirely different video because of YouTube's copyright standards. I wasn't able to do that type of video, so I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favorite moments of the 2025-2026 Philadelphia Flyers season. And what an exciting season it was for the Philadelphia Flyers and the fans of Philadelphia as well. They got to experience this playoff, got to experience playoff hockey for the first time in 5 years. But before I get into my countdown, let's talk about a quick summary of how the season went down for the Philadelphia Flyers. They lost the first 2 games of the season to the Florida Panthers. They got a point against the Carolina Hurricanes. And when they came home for the home opener, they defeated the Florida Panthers. They lost to the Winnipeg Jets, beat the Minnesota Wild in overtime, and in the month of November, things were up and down for the Flyers. But in December, the Flyers had a really good month of December. Going into the holiday break with two wins, and then in the second half, things started to fall apart for this Flyers team. Late in the season, the Philadelphia Flyers turned things around after the Olympic break. Late into April, late in March and April, Florida Martone was brought in a young kid that really helped this team get into the playoffs. The Flyers defeated the Winnipeg Jets. And because of a loss, because of the Blue Jackets losing to the Bruins, the Flyers only needed one more win to get into the playoffs. They were able to get in to the playoffs by winning that game. By winning that game in a shootout. Flyers' first opponent was the Pittsburgh Penguins. Flyers had a 3-0 lead in the series against the Penguins. The Penguins fought back, cutting the leads in the series 3-2, but the Flyers were able to end the series with a 1-0 win in overtime as Cam York gave the Philadelphia Flyers the victory in overtime. The Flyers were then swept by a really good Carolina Hurricanes team. The Flyers fought hard in that series in Game 4 to try and turn things around. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but what an exciting season for the Philadelphia Flyers. What an exciting season for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now that I'm finished with this part of the video, let's get into the countdown. Okay, now that I got the summary done, let's get into my countdown as I will be talking about my top 10 favorite moments from the 2025-2026 Flyers season. And starting off the countdown at number 10, the behind the back pass that Zegras made to Couturier in the home opener against the Florida Panthers. I remember watching this game. Zegras from behind the net, he makes an unbelievable pass to Sean Couturier, and Couturier puts the puck in the net as the Flyers get a huge goal from Coots and a huge assist from Trevor Zegras. Number 9 on the countdown. the overtime victory over the Minnesota Wild. In this game, the game went into the third period, and it was a tie game. The game went into overtime, and Noah Cates goes in and he puts the puck in the back of the net for their overtime victory over the Minnesota Wild. Now we get into my number 8 pick on this countdown. At number 8, a victory on Black Friday and a victory on the following Saturday. The Flyers had a Black Friday matchup with the New York Islanders, in which the Flyers got the victory in a shootout. On the following Saturday, they went to Newark to face off against the Devils, and the Philadelphia Flyers had a great post-Thanksgiving, two big post-Thanksgiving victories. Not only that, the Flyers also had a big win over the Florida Panthers on Thanksgiving Eve to go into Thanksgiving with a victory. So this pick will be called pre-Thanksgiving victory and post-Thanksgiving victories. So that's my number 8 pick. And number seven on the countdown. And number seven, Philadelphia Flyers come from behind victory over the St. Louis Blues. In this game, St. Louis had a lot of momentum going in. This is part of a home-and-home series with both teams. So we're going to talk about both games. Flyers were being outscored by the St. Louis Blues, but the Flyers were able to turn things around, going into overtime, and then in a shootout as the Flyers defeat the St. Louis Blues in a shootout 6-5. Not only that, they beat the St. Louis Blues once again at home in overtime as the Flyers defeat them in overtime. At number 6, Philadelphia Flyers dominate and absolutely embarrass the Winnipeg Jets. After the Flyers lost to the Detroit Red Wings, the Flyers' chances of making the playoffs were still in good hands for the Philadelphia Flyers. They went into that game, defeated the Winnipeg Jets 7-2, and kept their playoff hopes alive. On the following Sunday, the Flyers just needed the Boston Bruins to defeat the Blue Jackets to keep the Flyers' playoff hopes at 1, to keep the Flyers' playoff number at 1. Columbus did so, and the Flyers had just one more chance to get into the playoffs that season. At number 6 on the countdown. At number 6, Trevor Zegras ends the game in overtime against the Dallas Stars. This game was very close for the Philadelphia Flyers. The Dallas Stars were hanging on to a 1-0. The Flyers had a 1-0 lead. Dallas tied it up at 1-1, and the game went into overtime, where Trevor Zegras got the overtime game-winning goal to give the Flyers the victory in overtime. Now we get into the top 5 picks that I'd like to talk about. And at number 5, Porter Martone gets his first goal in overtime to beat the Boston Bruins on Easter Sunday. The Philadelphia Flyers were set up for a huge matchup with the Boston Bruins. This game was a low-scoring affair. It ended up going into overtime. The Philadelphia Flyers had a two-man advantage in overtime. But Bruno Martin cashed in to get his first goal of the season in overtime to defeat the Boston Bruins 2-1 on Easter Sunday. Now we get into my number 4 pick on this countdown. And at number 4, Dan Vladar with a spectacular save against the New York Islanders. The Flyers had a 3-0 lead in that game, where Dan Vladar was under siege by the New York Islanders offense. And Dan Vladar absolutely robbed the Islanders with a huge save to keep the Flyers at a winning pace. Now we get into number 3. Number 3 pick on my stuff. At number 3. Yeah, at number 3. Number 3 pick on this countdown. Number 3 pick on this countdown would have to be, I'm trying to think here. At number 3, the rookies' first goal, the first goals were Denver Varkey, Alex Hunt, and Oliver Bach. In the game against the New York Rangers back in December, Denver Varkey made his debut on the Philadelphia Flyers. He scored 2 goals in that game against the New York Rangers. Alex Hunt scored a goal late in the season against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And boy, these goals are awesome. During the last game of the season, Oliver Bach got his first goal as a Philadelphia Flyer. And now we get into the number 2 pick on this countdown. And at number 2, Cam York gets the win for the Philadelphia Flyers in overtime. Now actually, hang on. My number 2 pick on this countdown would have to be the playoff clinching game between the Flyers and the Carolina Hurricanes. Going into this game, the Flyers only needed one more win to get into the playoffs. In that game, the Philadelphia Flyers were down 2-0 in the second period. Matthew Nishov with a meter straight goal, and Travis Egras with the power play goal tied the game up for the Philadelphia Flyers. It was a scoreless third period. It ended up going into overtime, and then eventually a shootout, where Tyson Forrester had to go in the shootout, and Dan Vladar made the save of the game as the Flyers clinched the playoff berth for the first time in 5 years. Before I get to my number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions. Okay, here are my honorable mentions for this season. Now, the reason why I want to do honorable mentions is because there are so many great moments on this season, in that season, that I really wanted to talk about, but I'm going to put it in my honorable mention category. And I gotta talk about something that isn't related to what happens on the ice. But this is a very, very inspiring story that I talk about. And I'm going to talk about it. Jason Martinez, and his battle, and him surviving his battle with cancer. During the season, Jason Martinez was diagnosed with cancer that season. The Flyers on Hockey Fights Cancer Night, the Philadelphia Flyers would honor Jason Martinez on Hockey Fights Cancer Night as he was able to survive his battle with cancer. Sometimes in hockey, it's not about what happens on the ice. Sometimes an inspiring story that can occur, an inspiring story, an inspiring story that can occur, an inspiring story that can occur, can also occur off the ice as well. We see it with a lot of people, whether it be a hockey announcer, a hockey player, or whatever. I had to mention Jason Martinez's surviving cancer on this list. My next honorable mention for this, my next honorable mention on this list would have to be, my next honorable mention would have to be the dominating performance of the New Jersey Devils back in November. I'm not talking about the middle of the road. I'm talking about the dominating performance at home against the Devils and Washington Flyers. Got the 5-3 victory of the New Jersey Devils. My next honorable mention would have to be to go from going at Hathaway in the Eastern Conference for the final game game 2 between the Penguins, where Connor Hathaway got a pass and just put it in the back of the net to give the Flyers a 2-0 lead. My next honorable mention would have to be Matthew Nishan's overtime game-winning goal in Madison Square Garden against the New York Rangers. After the Olympic break, the Flyers needed to find their way again. And it all started with the overtime game-winning goal against the Rangers from Matthew Nishan, which started the whole comeback and the whole turnaround for the Flyers in that season. Now we get into my number 1 pick on the countdown, and at number 1, Cam York's overtime series clincher against the Pittsburgh Penguins in Game 6. In a game where it was a scoreless game for 3 periods, the game went into overtime. The Flyers were being heavily outshot and outchanced in overtime over the Pittsburgh Penguins. An important face-off would occur in the overtime for the Philadelphia Flyers. As Matthew Nishan and Noah Cates would set up Cam York for the game-winning overtime victory in Game 6 of the Eastern Conference for the finals. The Flyers defeated the Pittsburgh Penguins 1-0 to move on to the second round against the Carolina Hurricanes. So that is it for my countdown. Guys, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the fall for the next season of the Flyersguys Top 10. Thank you for joining me, and let's go Flyers. Let's get ready for the 2026 2027 Philadelphia Flyers season.
Shh.